Hi, I'm Jeremy, and you're listening to Verse by Verse. Paul encouraged the congregation in Rome by reminding them in Romans chapter 5 and verses 3 through 5, "We rejoice in our sufferings, knowing that suffering produces endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope. And hope does not put us to shame, because God's love has been poured out into our hearts through the Holy Spirit, which has been given to us." Now, like most things Paul wrote, this is part of a much bigger thought. But we can still zoom in here and learn something useful. For starters, we have a reminder that the sufferings we experience in this life, they produce something in us. Endurance. We learn to endure and push through the tough things, the things that make us want to give up and call it quits. With God's help, we learn to hang in and hold on, no matter how hard it is. And that builds character. It changes who we are and how we look at the world. God uses the sufferings we experience to help us develop character more like His. And in that process, there is hope. The closer we are to God, in terms of both our eagerness to be around Him and to be like Him, the clearer we can see the future He has in store for us. And it's not an empty hope. That's part of what Paul is driving home. God gives us His Holy Spirit. And in his second letter to the Corinthians, Paul calls the Spirit a guarantee or a down payment on a future that is so certain it may as well be here now. The Holy Spirit is a concrete expression of both God's love and the hope that we have. When God gives us His Spirit, He also gives us hope. Because to have God's Spirit is to know that after this physical life is over and done, after our bodies have failed, after we've returned to the dust from which we came, at the return of Jesus Christ to this earth, we will live again. And not just in a slightly more impressive repeat of this life, but as the glorified children of God, operating at a level of existence we cannot currently comprehend. Paul says that this hope will not put us to shame, will not disappoint us, because it is sure and trustworthy. When God places His Spirit within us, He places His transforming power within us. Having God's Spirit active in our lives, in our hearts, is what enables us to turn sufferings into godly character. It's what God uses to help us overcome our weaknesses and become more like Him. It's what will one day make us fully and completely part of God's family. And so, we rejoice in our sufferings, knowing that suffering produces endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope, and hope does not put us to shame, because God's love has been poured into our hearts through the Holy Spirit, which has been given to us.
If you've been enjoying Verse by Verse and want to help the show grow, here's what you can do to get the word out. Wherever you're listening, make sure to subscribe. If you're on a platform that accepts reviews and ratings, those can both make a big difference in helping other people find us. Verse by Verse is a companion podcast to the Daily Bible Verse blog, which you can find on the Life, Hope, and Truth Learning Center. Check out the show notes for more.